right, guys, so here is the virtual potential client process. Now, there's a lot of different ways you can do this. I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible. I'm going to walk you through the process that I do at Blueprint to Practice Automation, and then there's another way you could do that where you're using a purchase page for that potential client or patient to buy the program right then and there. So, like I said in some of the other videos, I talked about the marketing. You can use Facebook, Instagram, radio, TV, newspaper, mailers, whatever marketing resource that you need to drive people to a landing page, so an ad, okay, or to a URL. That's your landing page. That landing page, I go over an example of a landing page in the training, what that needs to look like, and obviously, if you really want some in-depth training, go through the vendor that I give you to teach you A to Z, from the funnel to the webinar, to the follow-up systems, to how to use ClickFunnels. Their product is phenomenal and it's reasonable priced. It's pennies on the dollar for what you're trying to accomplish to make thousands online. So, looking at this, you got the marketing set in place. You drive them to a landing page. Okay, that landing page is going to have a specific structure, which I go over one of mine on how that looks. And then they're going to go from that landing page, they're going to opt in and be like, wow, I need to learn what this landing page says, because your message is going to be so compelling that they want to watch it because it's relevant to what they're trying to accomplish. Because the ad is going to have a message that's going to say, hey, you have this problem, we have this solution, or do you experience A, B, C, D? And that patient's going to relate and go to the landing page, and then we're going to tell them what we're going to teach them. So once they opt in, they go into the live webinar, or automated webinar. I always recommend to do automated. I've always done automated online. You can do live as well. Once they go in the webinar, they're going to go through your webinar information. Now, there's a very specific way that you have to structure your webinar, okay? I'll go over that briefly. I'm not going to show you every little detail, but I'm going to go over kind of a good overview of what that webinar needs to look like. But obviously, the Cairo Funnel Secrets actually teaches you how to structure that as well, which is the vendor I'm talking about. So they go through the automated webinar, and it's either going to drive them at the end of the webinar. You're going to have a pop-up, which if you're using EverWebinar, if you're using ClickFunnels, which I recommend you using, if you're using ClickFunnels, you have an option to have a pop-up at a specific time of that webinar to be able to say, hey, schedule a call here, or buy now. So it's going to send them to a scheduling link, and then on that scheduling link, they're going to schedule a time on your schedule, and then obviously I go over how in Schedule Once, how we can send them an automated message that gives them the Zoom link that they're going to use at the time that they're supposed to jump on the phone with you, or jump on the Zoom with you. Or you can just do straight phone calls. As a BPA member, you went through a process and got on the phone call with me. So you've already experienced this process, which is really cool. And the second option is you can have a pop up and say purchase now. That is going to take them to a purchase page, which you can build out in ClickFunnels. That purchase page is going to have like a value stack of here's all you get and here's the price you get it at. And that way, that purchase page, they buy the program. So say you're selling TYG for $9.97. Then they're buying it right then and there, or maybe you're selling for $12.97, whatever your price is. They're buying it on the purchase page, and then you collect the money. It's going to give you an alert who purchased it, and then that client started. So the client started, and you got to enroll them into the BodySite enrollment. Okay, the BodySite enrollment is basically the program that you sold them. So say if it's weight loss or neuropathy or TYG, you're going to enroll them into that online curriculum, and then at that time you're going to set up your weekly call groups. Maybe you're doing bi-monthly. You can record them as well, like I talked about. You can drop ship them any product that they need for that program, straight from our manufacturers, how we have it set up. And then you want to have them complete any type of home testing, inflammation tracker, like in the TYG program. They can do the spittle test, the candida, they can do the thyroid test and fill out the inflammation tracking sheet. to see exactly where they're at, and they can continue tracking that along the way to see their improvements themselves. And also, you can do the Coca Pulse test in the TYG as well, so they can actually track their foods when they reintroduce the foods back in phase two. And then once you got all that stuff set up, it goes to an ongoing tracking in BodySight. So you're using BodySight to manage your patient. So you want to be able to track all their stuff online. You want to be able to pull up their chart at any point in time. So maybe you have follow-up calls one-on-one or in a group, whatever it may be. You can see exactly what the patient's doing. You can message them right from BodySight and say, hey, I've noticed you didn't log your weight today. Can you log your weight? Tell me how you're doing. You can have a staff doing that yourself, whatever it may be. But what you want to do is you want to use BodySight to manage them, keep them engaged, keep the messages sent to them every day, make sure that they're compliant, keep them accountable, and have a system set in place that works for you while you're sleeping, while you're at the grocery store, at your kids' practice. It's working for you 24/7. So that is virtual. You have to have that set in place. So once you start tracking them online and engaging them over time, maybe weekly calls, and they're logging their stuff, you have a virtual program working for you. And then you got ongoing weekly calls after that throughout the entire program. And when you do those calls on a Zoom or record them, that can be great education content to put up into your platform. Maybe in the back end of ClickFunnels, you can create a member site where they have a few videos or all the recordings that you have, so they can go back and listen to all the recordings. So on your weekly calls, I would recommend you having a topic, and talk about gluten, talk about medications, talk about leaky gut, talk about healthy fats, talk about any specific topic, 15-20 minutes, and have Q&A afterwards, and make sure that you can help them manage their program. Eventually, what you really want to do is you want to have a health coach. That health coach can manage that entire process. You could do your 20-minute topics a week, no Q&A. They just jump on and learn, record them, put them up, and then you can have a health coach do group calls or one-on-one calls, however you want to set it up. Depends on how busy you get, because if you're getting really busy, you got to have group calls. Just like Blueprint to Practice Automation, to manage over 300 clients, we have to have systems, automation, things working for us, group settings. Helps you manage it a lot easier. So that's really the process that you can go through. I know it's not all the details, but I'm really just giving you kind of a guideline what to expect with the virtual model, and be able to, if you really want to dive into the intricate parts of how to create a proper front-end funnel, which is a landing page, webinar content, the formats, the messaging, how it's structured, how to pitch, how to close, how to value stack, or how to create a follow-up sequence. To get really granular in those topics, dive into the Cairo Funnel Secrets program, and they teach you A to Z, and their price is phenomenal. It's one price, one flat fee, and I've set it up to where you're going to have access to the CEO of that company at least once a month. So it may change over time. You'll have access to him to be able to kind of guide you and answer questions and how it's relevant to Blueprint to Practice Automation. So we'll have a funnel coach, which is really cool. So that is the process that all people in virtual go through. It's either going to a sales call or a Zoom call or a purchase page. Now, when you get on that sales call, you want to really go through, and I'll go through this in more detail in another video, you want to go through the same process that you do in your clinic, but just in one setting. So I hope that process helps, and let's get on to more training.